Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zach Lee.
A lot of rumors flying around and reports too that you've been listening to some trade offers for Kristaps Porzingis. Is that in fact happening?
We're getting calls. As much as we value Kristaps and, what he's done for us, when a guy doesn't show up at an exit meeting, everybody starts speculating on, the duration or his movability from a club. So we've been getting calls and, we're listening, but we're not intrigued yet at this level. But as much as we love this guy, we have to do what's good for our club.
Knicks fans were a little uneasy as to what's going on here. What can you say to them?
Well, I think we know what we're doing.
What is the most exciting part for you coming home playing for the Knicks?
I'm ready to be an animal for this city.
Noah by himself, shot won't fall. Not only air.
For them to turn it around. Certainly, oh my goodness. Someone opened the door in the back. Kind of blew that ball up.
That was right there, the culmination of a frustrating season on that last free throw.
I think we know what we're doing.
Okay. Stop it! Stop it, Phil. Stop it right now. I don't know what's going on with you, but this is getting way out of hand. Look, you can't tell me that you're really thinking about trading away Porzingis. I don't think I've ever heard something as ridiculous as someone saying, right after you say away you might trade away a player like Porzingis. That just makes no sense whatsoever. See, I can see if Porzingis was like 27 or 28 in the best years of his career. At this point, he's an all-star, maybe one of the best players in the league. And the Knicks were still stuck at the bottom of the conference, not really improving, stuff like that. Then yeah, if you had to trade Porzingis away to start rebuilding while his value was at its peak, I couldn't be mad at that. But when you're talking about trading away someone as skilled and as promising as Porzingis at the age of 21 to protect your future, like that is your future. It's simple math. Porzingis plus Knicks equals future. Here is some more simple math for you, Mr. Phil Jackson. Knicks minus you equals better future. Phil, I respect you and all that you have accomplished in this league. You were great with both Kobe and Jordan. But how does that old saying go? You either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain, something like that. You're becoming a villain. And I haven't even gotten to the best part of this news. What he's looking for in exchange for Mr. Porzingis. A top 4 pick in the draft plus an established starter because he wants a shot at drafting Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson, a lot of hype around him going into the draft. A lot of teams supposedly really like him, and he could turn out to be a great player in the league. But I don't see how you trade away Porzingis to get him. You want to trade away a young player who has already shown you that he will be great for another young player who hasn't even played a single game in the NBA yet. It just doesn't make sense to me. I honestly just don't see how hard it is. You have one great young piece in Porzingis. You have the 8th pick in this year's draft. That's a good start. Now all you have to do is trade away every single other player on that roster and build around the unicorn. One team that has been doing a lot of work behind the scenes so far are the Houston Rockets. They're not making any huge headlines like the Lakers, Celtics, or Knicks right now, but they've low-key been just as busy, if not busier, than any other team in the league. And if Dwight Howard being traded to the Hornets out of nowhere doesn't show you that if you don't even hear any stories about your favorite team getting ready to pull the trigger on a trade, doesn't mean that one isn't about to happen. The GM Daryl Morey already said that the team is going to up their risk profile this summer and had something up their sleeve to compete with the Warriors. And now, reports that just about everyone that's not named James Harden on the team is being shopped. Lou Williams, Ryan Anderson, and Patrick Beverley are all on the trade block. And yesterday, I mentioned that Beverley tweeted out that he thinks he's pretty sure he's about to be traded. And now he also took the liberty of following the Indiana Pacers on Twitter as well, which is very interesting kinda, because of course when you think of the Pacers right now and you think trade, the first name that comes to mind is Paul George. And now I'm not gonna come out and say that I think the Pacers and Rockets have a trade lined up for Paul George, but unless it's a 3-team trade, I just don't know what else the Rockets would offer to the Pacers in exchange for Paul George. So I really think if there is some Patrick Beverley trade lined up, it's most likely a salary dump type of move. Since the Houston Rockets are also looking to make runs at top tier free agents like Paul Millsap, Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul, and Blake Griffin, and if they want to get any of those players, then they're gonna have to make some serious cuts throughout the roster to be able to afford them. It's clear that the San Antonio Spurs are looking to make a big splash this summer in free agency. It started with Paul Gasol opting out of his $16 million contract, not because he felt like he deserved more, because at this point of his career, he probably doesn't even deserve close to that, but because he wants to do the noble thing and take much less money to give the Spurs more room to sign better players. So that's great. And now 2 more reports came out yesterday saying that the Spurs are open to trading Danny Green, most likely in a salary dump move, but I think they'd love to get some type of rookie scale player or at least a first-round draft pick for him. As well as this report coming out that's saying they'd be willing to trade away LaMarcus Aldridge for a top 10 pick in the draft. Now, I don't think the Spurs will be able to move Aldridge for a top 10 pick in the draft because he's set to make $21 million this year, but then has a player option for the 2018 season that he could just opt out of and walk away from any team that does trade for him. And really, the only team I could even see thinking about trading away their top 10 pick would be the Kings, and that's because they have 2 picks, the 5th and the 10th pick in the draft. But I don't even think the Kings would risk giving up a young asset in a top 10 pick for a rental player that really won't help them accomplish much. See, there's a difference between a good team acquiring a good rental player like Aldridge and a lottery team getting a player like Aldridge that really won't do anything for them. So it just wouldn't make sense for really any team in the lottery to get him. But like I said, this just shows that the Spurs are serious about adding a max level player this summer. And I think we all know who that player would be, Chris Paul. But that being said, a report has also came out claiming that if they're unable to get Chris Paul, that the Spurs are still showing heavy interest in Derrick Rose. Either way, something is about to go down. I beg of you, Detroit Pistons, please take him off their hands. The Phoenix Suns are now trying harder than ever to move point guard Eric Bledsoe. It's been known for a while now that he was on the trade block, not because he's a bad player or anything, but simply because he is a bit too old for the rest of the team. And it's not even like he's old, he's only 27, so he still has a few years left before he even begins to decline. But the Suns, one way or another, are looking to get a younger point guard who will enter their best years around the same time Devin Booker will enter his. And that player, sadly for them, just isn't Eric Bledsoe. And after failing to trade Bledsoe for a while now, Phoenix is now willing to package him along with a young player and a draft pick. That young player though is most likely Dragon Bender, and if that's the case, it's not going to make any teams any more interested in getting Bledsoe because that man is garbage. But still, I'm just highly surprised that they're having such a hard time moving Bledsoe in the first place. His contract isn't that bad. He's under contract for 2 more seasons guaranteed and is only owed around $15 million both of those years. And considering he puts up numbers like a max level starting point guard in the NBA, that's actually a really good deal, and any team who picks him up is getting half off a max player. Plus, they probably won't have to give up too much to get him. It's also worth noting though, that currently the Suns are heavily shopping the number 4 pick in the draft for a star level player. And any team willing to take the pick would have to take Bledsoe too, according to reports. But if the draft goes by today and the Suns aren't able to trade that number 4 pick, you could expect Bledsoe to get traded for little to nothing to some other team sometime during the summer. The last little bit of news is that the New Orleans Pelicans sent point guard Tim Frazier to the Washington Wizards for the 52nd pick in this year's draft. You know, not the biggest trade for the Wizards. Obviously, they're still looking for a decent backup point guard for John Wall. And Frazier did have a few solid games for the Pelicans, so hopefully he can give them some solid minutes. And for the Pelicans, I don't really know what this trade accomplished. As sad as it might seem, Tim Frazier was one of the best players that they have under contract. Actually, he was their 4th best player under contract, right after Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins. Then there's a bit of a drop off, and we'll go Solomon Hill and Tim Frazier. Maybe you could even say Tim Frazier was better than Solomon Hill last season. No, I don't know. No one really cares. Yeah, the Pelicans are gonna need to sign a lot of players this summer. A lot of players this summer. And that's going to lead us to the question of the day. Do you think Porzingis will actually get traded? If so, where will he end up? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, but now let's take a look at what you guys said in yesterday's video. And yesterday, after D'Angelo Russell was traded to the Nets in a salary dump move, I asked you guys how you felt about it, and here's what you said. I know D'Angelo had to go at some point. Trading Russell pretty much confirms Lonzo was getting drafted. W for the Nets because D'Lo has major potential and will average 19 points. Mark my words. Deloading is gonna end up depressed now that he's on the Nets team. Look, I'm happy for the Nets. I know I clowned them a lot, but they got an exciting young player on that team and are now at least headed in the right direction. And Real actually only have to wait one more year before they can get another draft pick. And while it wasn't too surprising that Russell got traded, I just think we were all shocked that they couldn't get more in return for him. You know, Lopez is a good player and all, but we all know that he's just gonna be a one-year rental for them. So basically they gave away D'Angelo Russell for free, which is kind of strange. Like I said though, don't forget to leave your answers for today's question of the day down in the comment section below. But other than that, thank you once again for watching the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more daily NBA videos, including coverage of the NBA draft tonight. So that's gonna be lit. But until then, keep getting the Bucks, Team SDC, and I'm out of here.